do a couple of things here. Because I do want to stream this just for people's benefit as well. Because there's lots of new people out there, and I think that a lot of new people are, like, kind of intimidated because the mod is, like, brand new to them, and there's, like, a lot of experienced people that come out of our testing core. So I just want to do a bit of streaming while we go over this. Mostly for everyone else's benefit.
Yeah.
So give me a second here.
I don't know what all these factions are. Oh, there's the King Golden House. From that, and
Okay.
Medieval cavalry and black in there, yeah. Other than all the
Just need one more minute here. Okay, so we'll start with the basic stuff. So your baseline budget per person is 14k. That's what everything is like priced and balanced for. All of the factions do something like specific very, very well, and you can fudge it a little bit once you get used to them, because there's like some options to do so. But Doriath is actually a really, really good faction that's like very specialized in close quarters, so your ranged units are pretty limited, like very, very, very limited. The only unit that has like normal ammunition for like its bows and stuff is like a tiny little half-strength archer unit. So if we look at Doriath here.
Is it like the Marksmen of Region, or is it like Silverthorne or something?
It's the Rangers of the Girdle, the little tiny unit there.
Rangers of the Girdle.
Now, they're not actual rangers, and all of like the Girdle bow units use poison arrows. Poison arrows, I think it's -3 to morale to any unit that they hit. Marksmen are really, really accurate, and their kind of big thing is that they're like, you're familiar with Reforged, right?
Yeah.
You know the blue arrows from Reforged that like make people fly around?
Do you mean Battle for Middle-earth?
Same deal. Yeah, it's the Silverthorne Arrows. I moved them over to Reforged.
Oh, they are in Reforged now as well.
Yeah, and that's exactly what these guys are. It's just high mass arrows that will like disrupt enemies and prevent like entire units from advancing if you focus fire. If you put them on like a throwing axe or a javelin unit, then they do so much disruption that unit can't actually fire. But their ammunition is really limited, so they've only got about 8 ammo per person, and their size is very small. But their big thing is their axe units, so the Axe Guard of Region and the Warriors of Region. They're faster, and you can upgrade them for a meager 5 florins, whereas normally it costs like 40 for your other units. But the big thing,
like the weapon upgrade.
Yeah, exactly. So your weapon upgrade is going to be extremely cheap with those units, but for everything else, it costs normal. There's a lot of differences between weapons in Silmarillion, right? So like if a unit's using an axe, it charges at a greater distance, its charge damage is significantly higher, and its base damage is really high, but its like melee defense is actually really low. It gets like a big penalty of like -2 or something when I'm doing their stats. So if you look at the difference between, say, the Axe Guard and the Sword Host, normally that would be about 8 melee skill to 11, but the Doriath axe units only take half the penalty on the axes because it's part of their specialization. But the end result is that they take damage more often, and like cavalry attacks, for example, like a lancer charge from the front, would probably bounce off of Sword Host, and especially the Shield Bearers, which is a spear unit. But against the Axe Guard, it would like kill half the unit. So there's lots of like implications for that. But they're kind of like a halfway
Shield
mark.
Bearers are spears, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And Sword Host are sword and shield. Okay. Yeah, this Axe Guard also have less shield, but that's because they have smaller shield. So that they can use their axes better.
Yeah. They've got lower shields, lower skill, but their damage is way higher. Like you look at the difference there, it's like a
Yeah, it's 3 damage higher.
right, and you can bump that to an extra
And
of
it's
2.
they're slightly faster as well.
Yeah. So
So,
most units in the game are light or medium infantry. So if you look at the Axemen, they're all going to be like 1.1 speed. Light infantry moves faster, heavy infantry moves the slowest, and medium infantry is like a halfway marker between the two.
Oh, Warriors of Regan with 1.175 speed and Axguard with 1.075.
Yeah, that's the other classification. So shock units, like two-handed units with like high charge, they move really quickly. And how quickly they move depends on kind of what they're equipped with. So heavy armor makes them slower, shields makes them slower, heavy armor plus shield makes them the slowest.
Mm-hmm.
But the warriors of Region and the Axe Guard both move a little bit faster. But I think it was like 0.025%.
No, it's 0.025 faster.
Yeah. Which isn't huge, but it's noticeable.
Yeah. Okay, so if they're two-handed, then they have like 1 more speed than if they're sword and like if they have a shield.
Basically, so light infantry is going to move at a 1.1 speed. Even the heaviest heavy infantry is going to move at 1.1, so they move at the same speed as light infantry. So if they had heavy armor and a shield, they'd move about as fast as a light infantryman. Something like that. That sounds about right to me. But light units that are shock can move really quickly. And the Easterlings have units that move even faster still. I think they're like 1.25 or something. Like they're very, very quick. But for Doriath, basically the long and short of it is that you want to get into close quarters, and you can do that pretty quickly with some of your key units. The Kuthalim are an armor-piercing archer, so they're limited in their ammo, but they're very accurate, and their damage hits very hard.
Yeah. And they've got 2 hit points.
And they got 2 hit points. They're also, they don't have a stun animation. It's been removed from them, so they just constantly attack. They're very, very strong despite their size.
Okay. Yeah, they're whatever you want to call them. Thingamajig, where they don't give a shit if you hit them.
Exactly, yeah. They're relentless. That's just what we call it.
Yeah, relentless, yeah. That's what you call it.
To the left of them, you have the Tyrann Leistanen.
Yeah.
Their thing is that they're a throwing axe unit that has armor piercing. Doriath doesn't really have armor piercing thrown weapons outside of the Tyrann Leistanen. And they're basically here so that, like, if you're running up against House of Finarfin, for example, they've got some really, really strong pike units. They're there to counter not shield wall, but spear wall units, so like pikes and two-handed spears and halberds and stuff.
Yeah, like the bridge wards of Nagathron.
Exactly, yeah. They're there to deal with that kind of unit. They won't kill a whole unit outright, but they'll do lots of damage to it.
They'll wreck it enough that they aren't really that big a problem anymore.
Yeah, and their projectiles are high mass as well, so they're disruptive. Yeah, their purpose for existing is basically to help you keep the pressure up against spear wall units without negating spear wall entirely.
See a lot of the units having like the spear host of the girdle having 2 ammo and 80 range. Is that like extra axes as well, or is that javelins?
The spear host of the girdle.
Yeah.
So they have javelins, but I do draw distinctions in the mod between units that are like a dedicated skirmisher and units that are an infantry that happens to have a missile. So the spear host of the girdle, their projectile isn't armor piercing, and they've got less ammunition than a dedicated.
They've got 2 ammo.
Yeah, normally units will have, if they're a skirmisher, they'll have 3, and it'll be armor piercing, except for throwing axes, who just have higher base damage. And I don't really have any like dedicated throwing axe units aside from maybe 1, and I think they have about 4 ammunition instead of 3, but they're not armor piercing, so it kind of works out.
The Tyrann Leistanen 4 armor piercing.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, and they use the skirmisher template, so they're not as like fearsome As the Axe Guard, their stats are a little bit higher with their melee defense, but that's just because they're a smaller unit.
Mm-hmm.
But altogether, they're just not as efficient in close quarters because they're super expensive relative to the Axe Guard, and there's not very many of them.
Yeah, they're 230 more
Yeah.
to get them.
And they're lower on armor too. So they're medium infantry instead of being
They have a slightly better shield than the Axe Guard, but
yeah, but lower armor
Yeah.
and lower numbers.
yeah, they have two. They have one. They have one better shield, but two worse armor.
Yeah.
And they've got two better skill, but
And they 100% will get shot at. And that's why their shield is slightly better, just to kind of preemptively offset the focus fire that comes their way, because they get shot at a lot.
yeah, they've got a range of 70s, and they're the main AP factor, and AP is always
Exactly. And if you look at
Target.
the spear host, they actually have less range than the spear host, because the throwing axes have less range. So the spear host have 80, compared to the 60 of the Axemen of the Girdle and the 70 of the Tyrian Lystanen. But yeah, so there's lots of like really good comps you can build with Doriath, and it's gonna depend on what you're fighting. So let me pick something that might be an interesting, a difficult fight for them. Let's say, I will go as the House of Finarfin because they can be fairly difficult in a few ways. So one of the things that I like to do, because you can't match the bridge wards in a straight up fight, but what you can do is kind of keep them busy while you win elsewhere. So
yeah, and then just when you win elsewhere, just
collapse on
mob them. Yeah, just swarm them. Are the Donath and Mablong, are they also relentless, or
No, they're not. They're just normal.
okay, they just have 2 hit points.
Yeah, they've got 2 HP. They've got a little bit more armor, and there's like 20 more of them. And
they've got the morale buff as well.
Yeah, and they're armor piercing because they're a 2-handed mace.
Yeah.
But for fighting pikes, what I personally like to do is use either a combination of spear host and sword host, because the sword host have really high melee skill, and it pairs up pretty nicely against the 8 attack of the bridge wards. So they can just hold there forever with some spear host support, while you like try and win on the wings and then collapse inward into the Finarfin center. That's usually how you're going to win that match. But you've got lots of like we went over them. You've got lots of really quick units like the
Warriors. The Warriors of Region, Donath and Mablung.
Yeah, and the Warriors of Region in particular, you can take. Not only can you take a lot of them, but they're also armor piercing.
You can take 4 units of them.
Yeah, they're armor piercing too, which like does a number on the Finarfin units.
Oh, the Goblin are expensive.
They're expensive, and they might not be worth it in a fight against Finarfin. Like, usually they're a really good anti-cavalry tool, so if you're playing against the Sons of Feanor or Tolan Gaudhoth, who have, like, a heavy Warg Knight unit, then they're really, really strong against them, because they can just pick them out from across the field and whittle them down. You won't kill them outright, but you will do lots of damage to them.
Yeah. So, against, like, Finarfin, what would you usually pick as your general's unit?
As my general unit, I would probably... Let me just switch over to Doriath.
Yeah.
I would bring Donath, and I would bring Tyrian Lystanen, and I'd build around them. So I'd have Sword Host in the center. I'd maybe bring like 2 to 3 units of them. A whole bunch of Spear Host to the Girdle. Not just because they have high... like
the
shield.
big ones or the small ones?
I'd see how much money I have. So I'll definitely bring like 3 Sword Host, 3 Spear Host, Tyrian Lystanen, and Donath and Mablung, and have that be the core of my army, and then build around that. Next, I'd probably bring at least 3 units of warriors. Axemen of the Girdle can be useful. Marksmen of Region can be, but I would normally try to overwhelm Finarfin with just sheer infantry numbers, and the Marksmen are pretty expensive, so I might not bring them in this fight for that reason.
Yeah.
Rangers of the Girdle can be useful for picking at some of the Finarfin ranged units. Like the Marksmen of Nargothrond have a split arrow, basically. There's not very many of them, but each one of them, when they shoot, is going to shoot 3 arrows, and I think it's like 5 damage or 6 damage. I think it's like 5, actually. Which can be really, really painful. So the other thing you want to worry about is having lots of shield value, because that negates that to a pretty significant degree.
Okay, so all the archers don't have no, the Rangers of the Girdle have shield value.
Yeah, there's not many of them, but they get like a full shield value from the front for being light infantry. So they're sticky, like they're hard to get rid of.
Yeah, there's you can only get like 126 of them.
Yeah, and their missile damage is pretty high. They use like a high tier missile value, so they have 6 instead of 5. But in this case, I would bring Donathan Mablung, Tyrion Lysdonen, 3 Spear Host, 3 Sword Host, 3 Warriors, 2 Axemen, and then you'll need some stuff for kind of cleaning up. That should leave you with about 3,500 or so remaining.
You said 3 Axemen and...
Yeah, Axemen of the Girdle. They're a throwing axe unit, so they can be useful.
Yeah. And 3 of the fallen-sized Spear Host of the Girdle.
Yeah.
And 3 of the Warriors of Regan and 3 of the Sword Host of Regan.
Yeah. For the sake of a little bit more diversity, I'd bring 2 Axguard of Region as well. And then you can sneak in a couple of shield bearers, or you can go like full strength shield bearers, or you can get 2 detachments and then sneak in some Wardens of the Girdle who are pretty decent.
You would not take any... Would you take any Rangers of the Girdle, or...?
In this case, I probably wouldn't, because a lot of the Finarfin range units that you'd want to shoot at are pretty well armored. Like the Marksmen, for example, I think have like 10 or 11 armor. And if you're shooting at that with 6 damage missiles from a small unit like Rangers of the Girdle, you're not going to do too much. So I would bring, in that case, I'd bring Wardens of the Girdle instead. Get rid of a couple of attack upgrades from the Warriors of Region, because they already hit like trucks. And then you can afford 2 units of Wardens of the Girdle. And they're pretty damn nice. They're like a light infantry, but their charge is pretty decent. They've got 10 attack. They've also got a missile damage of 5. So you've got like lots of mid-range missiles, and you've got lots of like infantry that you can use to kind of get in the way. And I would also bring, in addition to them, 2 detachments of shield bearers of Region, and use that to my advantage.
Are you talking about a full stack? Or...
Here, I'll quickly send you a shot on Discord. Just give me a second of the army that I'm currently using. I would give this a go. You can play around a little bit. Like, you can bring out cavalry. Some of the cavalry from Doriath is actually quite good. But in this case, my strategy would be to overwhelm with numbers and to leverage all your mid-range fire and like your armor piercing and your high damage axe units, and just get them around the wings and crush inwards. Because Finarfin has no cavalry, so like you don't necessarily need...
Oh, Finarfin doesn't have any cavalry.
They have no cav whatsoever. So you don't necessarily need to have your own cavalry. And the cavalry that you do have, like the Outriders of the Girdle, are really good, but they're unshielded. They're big things that they can hide anywhere. But Finarfin can sometimes bring lots of skirmish, and that really does negate them to a significant degree. Like, if you don't pull them out at the exact right moment, then they can just get annihilated and you won't get much out of them. So for newer players, I would probably not go with the cav in this instance.
Yeah. Yeah.
That being said, Mounted Company are really, really good. And the biggest thing about Silmarillion that's kind of different from Reforged, I think, is that armor values are really quite tiny, and not many people have high armor, and not many people have armor upgrades. So if you can get behind people and like charge them in the rear, even with like melee cavalry or like horse archer cavalry, it could potentially do a lot of damage. So like positional play is one of the bigger parts of it.
Okay, yeah. So it's you need to position your troops well, and you need to find the right counter to other units.
Exactly.
Like it's not just this one unit is powerful as fuck and will wreck everything.
Pretty much. I try to avoid super units like that. So like everything has some like counter to it. So like Tyrion Lysdanen can be focused down by missiles. Donathan Mablung, same thing for them. Javelins are their bane. Spear units will in almost every instance, unless there's a huge quality disparity, lose to non-spear units. But Axe Guard units have obviously high attack, but they take damage more easily, so like they can be outlasted, or like cavalry can charge them down from the front. And like if that same cavalry charge, say, a spear or a sword unit from the front, they wouldn't do nearly as much damage because those units have higher melee defense. Whereas against the axes, that could wipe out half the company. So there's lots of like counters and soft counters in the game, but not so many like hard counters. But let me go ahead and build my army here, and then we can like kind of you can sort of get a sense for like these two factions. So Finarfin's really defensive, and the Pikes and like the heavy spearmen, like the Wardens of Nargothrond in particular, can be, not only can they have their armor upgraded, but they're also armor-piercing spears. They're the only armor-piercing spear in the game, I believe.
Yeah.
So
and they're pike units as well.
Well, the bridge wards are the Pikes. The Wardens are the armor-piercing spears. They're a shielded spear unit.
Okay, so there's spear and board.
A lot of Finarfin players, you'll see them combine those two units in the center. And then they have like a really, really powerful center. So that's something you can kind of plan around. Other people
like, screw up their sides or something.
Exactly, yeah. So if you see that they've deployed that way, then like focus on the flanks, and if you want to attack their center, either keep units in reserve to just like kind of pick at them, so you can use your spear host, have the girdle for that for that reason, or
just keep them occupied, but let it kill everything first, so that you can just
exactly get in there with high melee defense units, and they won't be able to beat the Pikes from the front because nothing beats Pikes from the front. But they hold them up long enough for you to chunk through the rest of the Finarfin infantry, because their infantry is mostly spearmen. So they have a shit ton of spearmen. The only non-spear units that they have are the Arqueni Mormagilwa, who are like they're similar to the Kuthalim in that they're relentless, but they're also a little bit better armored, and they have some other stuff, but they're a really strong offensive unit. The only other sword units they have are Swordsmen of Talith-Dyrnan and the Stalkers of Tauren Falroth. Everything else is like a spear unit.
So Finarfin is kind of like dwarves and reforged in that they're very defensive. They're made to just make a formation, hold it.
Exactly. And especially in team battles, you can use your Finarfin player as sort of the anvil.
Yeah, the anvil, and then someone else goes around and just hits the back line or something, or just stays behind Finarfin line and shoots over it.
As long as they can like keep people from getting around them and behind them and like crushing their wings and hitting them from the rear, especially with cavalry, then Finarfin can hold out for basically ever, and they will like grind people down slowly from the front. But they don't have like really quick killing power the way some other factions do.
Does Finarfin have much in the way of ranged?
They have some pretty decent ranged units. So they've got the Marksmen, who are limited to 8 ammo, but they've got the split shot, which can be really devastating. They've got a regular old run-of-the-mill medium archer, the Archers of Talith-Dyrnan. And they've also got the Scouts of Tauren Falroth. So the Scouts have less... They're sort of like the halfway in terms of ammo between the Marksmen and the Archers of Talith-Dyrnan. They've got poison arrows, so they can damage morale. But they run out of ammunition fairly quickly. But they've got two-handed spears as well, so that's kind of nice.
Okay. How long does the poison arrow effect last?
I think it lasts about 5 seconds, but if you give me just a minute here, I can check the file. And I'll be able to give you an exact answer. Oops, that's the wrong one. I need to go. into area effects, but I'm pretty sure that's about 5 seconds.
Yeah. And I'm thinking after we've done this one, this 1v1, we can maybe just let a few others in.
Yeah, for sure.
Can either a free fall or teams or something.
Yeah, the mod functions pretty well in 1v1s, but like team battles are kind of the main focus, and that's where like you can really start to come alive and create some like very scary like team comps, and it gets more interesting that way.
Then you'd maybe have the Finarfin as like they're your anvil, they hold the line, and then you have a good cow faction or a good archer faction.
House of Feanor or Assyrian or something can be really scary. Assyrian especially, because normally they have to like kite you to survive, because in close quarters they just get smashed. But Assyrian hiding behind a Finarfin spear wall could be a very scary thing indeed.
Okay. Assyrian is mainly archer focused though?
Yeah, most of their units have like a missile of some kind. So if we take a look, if you want to take a look at the Assyrian faction, you can just quickly save your comp there. They're going to be the one with the little golden leaves and the 7 rivers. If you just quickly go through their roster, you can see that most things have a missile, right? And they've got detachments and stuff that like function a little bit differently and add a little bit of variety and extra functionality.
They've got Kinsmen of Denethor who are just morale lot. Okay.
Yeah, they have a core of units that like the Urfinen Tower are 2-handed locked morale axemen with really limited ammo, and the Kinsmen are locked as well.
Yeah.
The Randirim and Tolgalen, you can see them down at the bottom there to the left of one of the cav units.
Oh, body piercing. Oh.
Yes. They are the only body piercing archer in the game. They're the only like reforged-esque ranger that exists. And they can get shut down pretty hard. But if you use them well and like surprise people with them, 2 or 3 volleys can be like a game changer. But for the most part, most of their units are spearmen. And the units that they have that aren't spearmen are low in number and really expensive.
Yeah.
So like the Urfin and the Mythern and Tolgalen, which is like a 1 HP bodyguard, are very small, and the Urfin are like 1200 florins, which I think it makes them the most expensive non-2 HP infantry unit in the game, if I'm not mistaken. But they're a really good unit.
Yeah.
But if you get into close quarters before you're ready with Assyrian, then you will get smashed up. And you'll get smashed really hard.
Yeah. I see that the Ents have a nice nice stat description. Mass, massive, speed, fast.
I didn't know how else to describe it, honestly. Their animation sort of brings them outside of the conventional metric for speed. So I could say that I think currently they're like 0.45 speed, but they're actually way faster than an infantry unit or a cavalry unit that would be at 0.45 speed.
So if they had the same animation as others, then they'd have like less than half their speed.
Right.
But because of the animation, they have more than their speed.
Yeah. So basically, they're fast, and that's all you need to know.
Gotta go fast. Oh god. You could maybe try and get someone to join us in a bit.
Yeah, sure, if he wants to jump in as well. I think he wants to play in the Invitational as in addition to. And since we're live, I might as well mention this, because there's actually some people who'll be playing it that are currently in the chat. On October 2nd or 3rd, or perhaps both, I'm going to be running a Silmarillion Invitational Tournament. It's going to include YouTubers like myself and UMAD and Windy Pops and Scouts of Entertainment, possibly some other people as well. I'm just waiting on confirmation. And it's also going to include a lot of OG players. So Delramore is by no means new to the community of like Third Age, Reforged, etc. He's been playing for a very long time. And I've managed to have some of the...
I've had a very long break of not playing for like, I think it's like a year or 2 now.
Exactly. That's why we're like going through some of the basics here for the new mod. But in addition to him, we have Sabons McTavish, who hasn't played Medieval 2 in quite some time as well. We'll have Ballin, and a number of other people who have made appearances on my channel, like sort of in the golden oldie days. But they'll be coming back for this invitational tournament, so that's really exciting. Crimson Behelit, one of the developers of Reforged, is now back from a break, and it sounds like he's interested in playing as well. So currently have about 13 people, looking for maybe 3 or so more. over the course of the next little while, but I'll be sending out invitations to fill that number count. But yeah, so we're going to have a really cool tournament, and I hope you guys join us for it. But I was going to play Finarfin. So I'll explain Finarfin a little bit more as I go through. There's some fairly popular builds out there. One of our testers, Artorius, likes to bring 3 Pikes of Nargothrond, which is really, really scary in an infantry grind. So that's something to be aware of, is that sometimes people will bring more than 2 Pikes. But generally, the conventional build involves 2 Pikes, 2 Wardens of Nargothrond, some of the detachment Wardens as well, to kind of round it out there and give you a really nice core. And then it's just like a line-holding army, right? So you'll get 2 Marksmen of Nargothrond almost every time. You're also going to get like Swordsmen of Talith-Dirnan. The detachment is an armor-piercing javelin, and it's the only armor-piercing jav unit, or like hand-thrown unit, that Finarfin has access to. But you're just going to get a lot of numbers, a lot of like mid-tiers mixed in with like the high-quality high tiers, and yeah, it can be scary. But you have a lot of mid-range units like throwing axes and javies, and you definitely want to use that against them. One other thing to note is that you don't necessarily want to, because the armor piercing isn't present on most of your hand-thrown missiles, you want to try and get onto like the wings with your axe throwers of the girdle and your Tyrian Lysthon, and not so much. Because the Finarfin mid-tiers have really good shield values. They have an 8 shield, which is really high.
Okay.
Let me see here.
You've got people in your chat asking you if you're one of the developers or moderators of Silmarillion.
Am I one of the developers or moderators of this mod? Yes, Ali, I am. I'm actually one of the lead developers.
Yeah, to my understanding, you more or less started out the mod.
No, actually, Secretariat started the mod. He gathered all the people, and I was kind of done with modding for a little while, but he asked me if I wanted to help on the project, and at first I was lukewarm, and then I started doing some stuff for it, and I got really enthusiastic, and then, yeah, that's kind of where we are now. Hello, Seta. I don't think I've seen you before, but welcome to the stream. Let's see here. Let's do that. Damn. All right, let's go.
There we go.
And so, just to get you sort of into the mindset of, like, your opponent, if I was playing against you and I was playing against Doriath, I would also want to get into close quarters as quickly as possible, because I want to, like, get in and try and negate the damage that you can do to me from the front initially.
Yeah.
So I would expect me to push at you a little bit.
Yeah, but I should, like, the general playstyle for Doria is charge up close and use axes or javelins and so on.
Yeah, exactly. Seek that, like, close quarters fight.
Yeah, but not instantly melee.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, basically
Not
you can like tie people down and then use your hand thrown units on the approach to like deal as many casualties as possible and then try and just follow through with infantry. But in this case, I'd maybe try to like use your axe throwers on the wings with your other axe units and use them as like one big scary flanking force, and that could be potentially very very hard for me to deal with.
so like a center or general force, and then have a flank of like all the warriors of Regan.
Exactly, yeah. That's why you have the like high melee defense units plus the really high attack but low melee defense offensive troops as well. It's just to sort of help you like achieve what you need to achieve.
Oh, damn while since I last played.
But one thing that people can try and do, especially when you want to like flank that way, is try and spread you out thinly. Which is, I'll tell you just for the sake of it, that's what I'm doing right now. Is I'm trying to like spread out in a sustainable way so that I also have reserves that I can throw at you. Because I'm just going to try and grind you. That's basically the name of the game for Feanor.
Yeah, grind me down slowly.
Exactly.
Like a strip out a strip club.
Yeah, more or less. That's one way to think of it, I suppose.
Yeah.
I got a taste for power and I was consumed by it. Yeah, that's right. I thought I was done with modding, and then I really, really enjoyed working on sort of the conceptual end of Silmarillion's factions. And I found out that's about something about myself that I didn't really know, is that I like doing that. And I really enjoy being sort of like a lead designer, like creative lead on projects like this, and I like the autonomy. So in a sense that I do enjoy having the power to sort of call shots in certain ways, but I try not to like lord that over people. I try to, you know.
The wrong button I pressed, sure.
Alright, let's quickly reposition here. But again, I've put my pikes in the center. Pretty common. Sometimes people will mix it up and they'll put their pikes on the wings, which, you know, if I thought you were going to use the strategy that you were going to use, I might have done that, but I also knew what you were going to do because I told you what to do, so I'm not going to metagame it too much, but that is something to be aware of, is that those people will switch things up and do unexpected stuff to you. Especially some of the more experienced testers who have had time to kind of goof around. Oh man, yeah, you have that like slight hill advantage, so I actually have to come to you.
Yeah, that's the reason why I picked this hill. I was expecting you to pick your hill.
No, I never do that, except when I do.
Except when I do.
So just so you know what they look like, those orange arrows there,
Yeah.
that's the split shot arrows. All of the special projectiles, like armor piercing units will have, like armor piercing arrows will have a green projectile trail. Blue is the high mass Silverthorne projectiles. And orange is the split shot, and black is poison, so that's morale damage. I would move forward as quickly as possible at this point because I'm starting to shoot up some of your important reserve units like the Axe Guard there. Mid-tier archers can be pretty good against them. Yeah, you want to provoke that fight, but also like it can be difficult to micromanage all of the missile units and to get kind of where you need to be. But you do figure it out after a while.
Also need to remember all the controls. Oh, wrong. I mean that one. Oh. Oh wow, the spearhosts really have a little ammo.
Yeah, they've only got about 2 ammunition per unit, but like it does damage.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things to note about infantry units is that unlike ranged units, they can actually be very, very inefficient. I'm definitely going after your Warriors of Region with my Marksmen now, because I figured you'd come all the way over there. But they can be very inefficient in that only the front ranks can attack unless it has spear wall, in which case multiple ranks can attack. So you want to try and spread them out to match my line as much as possible. You're doing a good job of it right now, but that's just something to keep in mind, you know?
Mm. Could have, probably would have been a good idea for me to have some good old cab.
Yeah. So now what I'm going to try and do, because the warriors are kind of blobbed up, I'm going to try and block that charge with my stalkers and then pin them in place. And then come around with my important high skill bodyguard units. I have my Arquini Mormagilwa there. That's where my general's going to be hanging out. And I'm also focus firing down the axe units with my marksmen. But the front and your front line is mostly unengaged so far. You are winning in a few different places. But what I can do now, because I can, is start to move forward some of my phalanx units. And then like move to engage you so that you can't like wrap around me or anything nasty.
That's your AP spears in the bridge doors.
Yeah. Now I've got some other stuff here, some other little surprises for you. So the Sons of Feanor have like some minor hidden units, so I have stalkers there that I'm using.
Yeah.
And they're a hidden unit, and they can be kind of irritating.
I noticed.
They've got like they've got bonuses in terrain and stuff like that. That's not really important for this game, but like terrain bonuses for certain units are pretty significant. Should move these guys around. So you do want to be aware of like what units have what terrain bonuses, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
Because some units become significantly more powerful in certain types of terrain.
Okay.
Oh no, those Tyrian Lysdanen, I didn't see them. Didn't see them in time.
I don't even know how effective they were.
They hit my wardens pretty hard. Yeah, they're flashing, so they're actually taking casualties really quickly. I'm sort of managing to stabilize a little bit, and that's kind of partially due to like the piecemeal nature of things. So I've been able to like control the pace of the battle pretty well so far. But you've still got your bodyguards. You still got the Tyrian Lystonin, who can be a big pain in my ass.
Only half the enemy force remains.
Oh no. I can see those axe guard coming from behind. But yeah, what I probably would have done is while my pikes were kind of sitting there idle, I would have brought the Tyrian Lystonin a little bit farther forward, and then used them to target my pikes a bit earlier on before I was able to kind of move up and start picking on your other dudes.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice there with surrounding the defenders, though. That's actually a spot in the line where it's likely you'll be able to break through.
Yeah, that's what I was planning on, you know? Yeah. Thank you for moving those Wardens of Nagothron right up in front of the Tyrian Lystonin.
You're welcome. Happy to
They
help.
all flying and lost like 12
Look
of them
at
in one body.
percentages there. It's pretty in my favor, but you are pulling it back in a few places. But I don't know if you have the momentum to kind of finish me off.
I am not sure.
What I need to do is I'm gonna come right through this like big gap over here on my left, your right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I messed up a bit on that side.
It's all right though. One of the important things is that like you got your sword hosts kind of where they needed to be, and you can. Ooh, sneaky. You might need to move over there and fight this fallen leaf guard hand to hand.
The what? Fallen Leaf Guard?
The Tyrian Lystonin, it's the guard of fallen leaves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're bringing it back. You're bringing it back real nice. It's still about 20%, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna get him. I'm coming for him.
And Lystonin just standing there when I told them to charge.
I think part of the unit got caught as they were going through, so they're having like pathfinding
Yeah,
troubles.
they're having finding troubles.
Yeah, I would just turn around and fight these guys. There you go.
How did they fare against the Arquini Momegilda?
The Arquini have been fighting against Axemen for a while, so they might be a little bit squishier, but normally the Arquini would break through these guys, but we'll see. The Tyrian Lystonin have good numbers. My guys are a little bit blobby.
Yeah. But you are losing. You are winning on that front. A few places. Your wardens are rather strong. Your wardens of Nagothron.
Yeah, it's the pikemen, like from the front. They're still doing pretty well. One's at 87, one's at 62, and that's the one that's kind of being surrounded. So at least you can kind of see the impact that can have when those pike units are surrounded versus when they fight from the front. Because my other one's just been fighting from the front the whole time.
Yeah, pikes are definitely strong. Like I've seen that in, I think it's Rome Total War 2. You can just Like a single pike unit can literally kill full stacks just
Yeah.
if you hold it in a choke point.
They're very, very strong. But the weaknesses are there.
Yeah, if you flank them in any way, then they can, or get a, like if they're holding a choke point and you get a rear charge on them, then the whole unit can evaporate.
They also have this hilarious tendency to turn around for no reason. And then if you are playing as Finarfin and you see your units doing that, take them out of spear wall, click attack, and wait for them to all turn around, and then turn your spear wall back on, and it should be fine. How are those Leaf Guard doing? Yeah, I threw another unit in there, so the Marksmen are... They use an archer template, but they're so small that their stats actually are fairly respectable. Not, like, as good as a dedicated two-handed unit, but they're still not bad. And their armor is good, so... Throwing them in there was...
Not bad, apparently, on Medieval 2. I've had no sound from the game for a while now.
Yeah. But, like, as a first game... It's pretty decent. It just became a big old grind, and the only reason I was able to win is because I was able to control the pace of the battle, and that's what you want to do as Finarfin.
Not experienced with this. Rather rusty.
Yeah, and actually, now that I think back on it, this might not even be a terrible place for some cavalry, right?
Yeah, if I had just like one unit of cavalry, I could have done a lot. Like, the recent Total War I've been doing a lot of cav focused. So
yeah, the only reason
not having any cav.
The only reason I suggested not using them is because the cav that would actually be really useful in this fight, you have to like be patient with it, and it's easy to use them too early and then lose them. But if you had even one unit of Outriders, like, I would have been really busy on my back. I wouldn't have been able to commit to the front line, and it would have been a really useful distraction. So.
Yeah, like, my recent playstyle has been more or less build a front line that can just bog anything down, and then when it's bogged down, just send in the cavalry and harass the rear.
And
that's been my playstyle in Three Kingdoms and Total War and Warhammer.
Yeah. And the Doriath cavalry, especially their light cavalry, is perfect for doing exactly that because it hides anywhere, right? So you can keep it hidden, and they don't even know that you have it until you're ready to use it on them. And you've like given yourself the conditions that you need to have that unit be optimal.
I remember in Reforged, a single cav unit could literally win a battle.
I remembered some pretty crazy eye-opening games. It was like a developer versus community replay where like 3 or 4 Rohan units basically killed 2 armies to themselves. That's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago. That's like an old build.
Yeah. The Donath and Maplin, they were locked morale, correct?
They are not locked. They can run away. They might start to drop a little bit here.
Yeah, they were steady for a moment.
Yeah, they're a bodyguard tier unit, so their morale is very, very high. Yeah, they dropped to shaken now.
Yeah, because they lost like 10 models in the single.
Yeah, casualties, and they lose cohesion, and then they start to be like, maybe this isn't such a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, they were saying victory was a certainty all until you pushed in that massive mob.
Yeah, the calculator in Total War, in Medieval 2 at least, is not super
Medieval
reliable.
2 is not the best.
Victory is a distinct possibility, which means that it's not certain.
Yeah, even when there was only one model left, it was only saying defeat is a distinct possibility.
Yeah. But even though I was able to control the pace of that battle, still killed 3/4 of my army, which gives you an idea of how strong Doriath can be in a frontal engagement.
Yeah.
Why don't we try... Do you want to try another one with the same map, the same factions, but we'll switch? So you can be Finarfin and I'll be Doriath?
No, I'd rather actually try and do a bit of team play and just
Yeah.
try and like play as a team and try
Okay.
and see how it goes. Like one of my spearheads only got 2 kills, and that's even though it used up the full ammo. So,
Yeah, well, let's do a bigger team game then. Let me advertise in the
I
Discord.
had quite a few units that didn't get utilized properly.
Are you on the Discord already? I don't think you are.
On the Silmarillion, yeah, I'm on it.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Alt tabbing just isn't working on my PC right now.
Fair enough.
Oh, right, because I needed to set it to window, right? Was it able to do that in options?
Sorry, which?
The window thing where you could alt tab and shit.
Yes. So that's done for you. It should be done by default in the
Not
keys.
letting me alt tab and shit.
Okay. So the other thing to do is to go into like the Medieval 2 directory, so just common Medieval 2 Total War. And then you find the preferences file in there. It'll be medieval2.preference. It's a CFG file.
I'll need to restart my game because it won't let me alt tab at all. Like it's just not even attempting. Medieval 2. Where was it? Medieval Total War.
Yeah. So it's in that main directory there.
And then
Medieval2.preference is the name of the CFG file you want. It'll be near the bottom usually.
no, it was rather it was below medieval2.exe.
So if you open that,
yeah,
and you scroll all the way to the bottom, you will find a little
borderless
section.
window true.
Yeah. So you have borderless window true already on.
Yeah. I don't know what.
And it says windowed true as well.
Yeah. My PC can be weird occasionally. I'll just use Discord on my phone then.
That's pretty weird. And you ran it with the batch file, right?
Yeah, I'm using the shortcut I made.
That's pretty strange. That's the way you would normally do it. Let me just quickly host this lobby, and we'll do a good team battle map. Let's say some of the free-for-all maps are actually really fun for this. Let's do Nandor Village. I don't think we've ever done Nandor Village, and it's weird. So everyone's gonna start inside of a settlement together.
Also, opposing teams as well.
Yeah, it'll be a team game for sure. But everyone is gonna be able to spawn either inside of this settlement, and you can use all the battlements and all the walls, and everything is free for you to use. But there's also an open area outside of it, so it can be a weird game. If you want to come up my team, I'll give us the money that we need. Usually 2v2, I think, is a good.
Okay. Yeah, on the Silmarillion and Discord, I'm on in the House of the King.
I should be able to find you. Why don't I add you to Testers? Now, Testers is not going to be active for a little while, but if you want to kind of join in on that at some point, the option will be there for you. We're not going to pick up with development until like mid-October, though, because I'm going to Montreal for 2 weeks. So when I get back, that's when we'll start again.
I'll be starting school in October. School course-ish.
When do you start? Like, what's your start date?
I think it's 13th. That's right.
13th. Okay, there'll be tons of time for the tournament then. Like, we'll get it done over the course of 2 days.
I'm still waiting on them to send me the actual message that hey, you have school at this point.
It'll probably be online too, yeah.
No, it's not. Very likely not to be because it's like I'm a manual labor educator. So. Who is the main cav factions?
The 2 main cavalry factions are the House of Feanor, so the first faction there, and then there's a little wolf head. That's the Dominion of Tolan Gauderhoth. They have a ton of warg units that are all like specialists in kind of what they do.
And Assyrian doesn't have that much cav.
I think they can bring up to 4 units of cav, but they have 2 that they split that between.
Yeah.
Whereas Sons of Feanor has, including their detachments, they've got like 6.
They can only bring one Riders of the Past detachment.
Yeah, just one detachment, but you can bring 2 full units. So you can bring a shit ton of horse archers if you want.
Yeah, you can bring a total of 10 horse units as Feanor. And still have 5k left.
It's not bad. The Roqueni Magloro are knights in the traditional sense. So like they're like Reforged knights. And they hit really hard and their charge is ridiculous.
By knights in the traditional sense, you mean they're strong at everything?
Yes, they're basically good at everything. They're a little bit more limited by their numbers in this, though.
Yeah, they're both good charging, both good anti-cav, and melee cav, and so on. They're just not that many of them.
Exactly. Their charge is, I think, the highest cavalry charge in the game. Thereabouts. It's 30, and there's not too many units that can stand up to that from the front. In fact, I don't think there's any.
Which of the melee units was it that was... that was relentless? Was it the Otan Maitimo or the Accursed of Alcolonde?
It's the Accursed of Alcolonde. So they are really, really just monsters in melee. But if you look at their melee skill there, it's only 10.
Yeah.
Most like light lancer units and like kind of high tier lancer units in the game have about double their attack. Yeah, or double their melee skill in attack. So if these guys get charged down by cavalry, then they die like dogs.
Yeah.
Or armor piercing units will hit them really hard. But you can upgrade their armor from 13 to 15, so they can be very tanky.
Yeah, the Roqueni and Maglora, with their charge bonus, they have 30 in total.
Yeah, exactly.
If I remember correctly in how Medieval 2 worked on those calculations.
Let me see if I can pull some
Oh,
more
they have a
info in
rather
here.
cheap one. Okay. But they get 2 armor for each defensive upgrade.
That's correct, yeah. So it's 2 armor for each defensive upgrade, and it's 2 attack for each attack upgrade, even though it only registers as raising it by 1.
Yeah.
And the same applies to the cavalry units as well. So your Hunters of Kelegorn, you can give them that little extra edge where they're like 25 charge, even though it only registers as being 24, which is really huge. So the Hunters of Kelegorn and the Roqueni Magloro are like together some of the... They have the most devastating cavalry charges in the game, I think, bar none. And they can swing games if like people aren't paying attention to them.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to go into my clan server and ask if people are interested?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm in DF with Bobo and those guys.
Yeah, no, that'd be lots of fun. Yeah, ask anybody who wants to come on in, and I'll ask our testers and anybody who is in chat out there as well. This is all being done in a public build. Our build is available through ModDB. I'll put a link in the chat for you, and you can come and join us. It's pretty easy to install. I've included installation instructions along with the files, so easy peasy. Just come and join us, and yeah, we can train up some other new people as well, help them get situated within the mod and the meta. And there you go. We got at least 2 more people coming in. This will be an interesting map to do a 4v4 on, though.
What is this map meant for?
It's generally meant for free-for-alls, but I think a team game would also be kind of cool in this.
Okay. Is there a good option for cavalry on this map, or?
This probably isn't a great map for cavalry. This is going to be an infantry slog. Unless you can get some use out of your cavalry on the outside. This is going to be mostly an infantry fight. But the Sons of Feanor infantry are not terrible. They're not the best, but they're also pretty good.
Okay.
They're like stacked on their armor values in particular, so anything with a lot of armor piercing can be a trouble for them. Lots of spear wall units they don't really have a direct answer to.
Okay. So, like, it could be an idea to bring, like, Roquan and Maglor and Hunters of Calagon, maybe, but no more cav than that, really.
Yeah, nothing extra other than that. Most of it will probably take place inside of the city itself. So, with that in mind,
I don't know how the city itself is.
I'm going to play the Easterlings.
Okay.
But we'll see who we end up fighting before I figure out exactly what I'm going to bring. Oh, goodness me. The Easterlings are lots of fun, but they're a tricky, very like specialized faction, so they can be kind of hard to get into for new people. Like you need to be able to play them well.
Are the archers of Feanor, are they worth it? Or...
They're okay. They're just a support unit, but you can actually upgrade their armor to make them really tanky. In the fighting that we'll be doing inside of the city, I would say, yeah, they're probably useful.
Okay.
Because there's lots of, like... It's like an elven city in the middle of a forest, right? So there's lots of, like, battlements even on the interior of the city that you can, like, go up into. Like, these big, like, raised ramparts that kind of go over the top of streets as bridges. So you can, like, fire down into people.
Well, I got Finland, to be honest.
Perfect. Well, that's 2 people. We could do a 2v2 on this map. I wouldn't be upset about that at all. But we'll see what your DF buddies say. If they want to come and join us, then I'll leave it open for a little bit.
Finland already joined.
All right.
So it's still going on about that. This battle exceeds the...
What's that?
The thing when total soldiers go over 4,000.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how to get rid of that. I think it's just... We're just stuck with that forever.
Yeah. Are you able to hear my keyboard? Or?
I can a little bit, but it's not like irritating or anything. It's totally fine.
Okay.
Cool. I think that'll do. We'll lock it for now, just so we don't have anyone else join. I feel bad when I have to kick people, so...
Yeah. I know.
Alright,
Would it be better to go with a lot of footmen or a lot of shield bearers, or...
The footmen... Since there's going to be lots of close quarters fighting... actually, because they're both Doriath, I'm not sure that Feanor is a good pick in this, because you're going to be fighting like in close quarters with Doriath infantry. And like I mentioned, the Feanor infantry have really, really good armor, but Doriath is also really good at dealing with armor. So I might even go crazy and go Angband, because you have lots of like pole arms and like halberds and stuff that you can use in choke points in the city.
Would Finarfin be a good matchup against?
Finarfin's a decent one too. Yeah, there's lots of like narrow passages where your pikes are pretty secure.
Yeah, I don't know how this map is. Is it mostly choke points or?
It's like a standard sort of city layout, but there's also like walls that you can get onto.
You can make a choke point and make into a choke point.
Yeah, there's tons of spaces where you can like lock people down and like make them grind through your really strong units.
Okay, and Angband is good at doing that?
Angband's good at that. Finarfin is good at that. The Easterlings can be pretty good at that with the halberdier units, which is why I've brought all of the halberdiers that I could. Angband would be a good complement to my lower numbers as the Easterlings.
Mm-hmm. And I should bring like iron shot halberds and iron shot halberdiers.
Yeah, and all the iron shot units and the iron crown units can upgrade their armor.
Okay. Would it be good to bring? Should I bring bulldogs of Angband and
yes.
so on?
There's almost no situation where the bulldogs can't be useful for you.
Okay.
They've got a good morale buffing.
Or the Valarauka.
In this case, let me see if they're still both Doriath. In this case, all two-handed units in the game have bonuses against elephants, and two-handed axes are armor piercing, so they can shut down elephants pretty hard, and there's going to be a lot of them floating around the battle today. So I would go mostly like orc heavy and not worry too much about them. Although the Uruloki might not be a bad pick because their firing arc is fixed, so you can like fire as a mortar into units that are already fighting, which might be useful for you. So I would bring Uruloki and then a bunch of orcs and stuff.
Okay, so bulldogs over Loki, and then like a bunch of halberd, iron shard, iron crown units, and then like the arbalists.
The arbalists can be really good. The reavers are a little bit better in field battles because they have higher charge and you can flank with them and do like lots of work. I think the legionnaires are a good pick for close quarters fighting.
But what about the guardians of the iron crown and so on?
They're pretty nice. Fully upgraded, they're actually really, really scary. And they have maces, so they're armor piercing as well.
Okay, and the Spearguard?
The Spearguard are really tanky and will fight for a very long time. And they also buff morale. So they're a different sort of beast.
Yeah, probably going to use them just for the morale buff, mostly.
They're good for the morale buff, and they also like hold up units for a very, very long time because they're so tanky.
Oh wow, I can really bring a lot of legionaries.
Yeah, you can bring up to 5 of them, I think.
Yeah, 5. So the Reavers and the Ravagers would not be the best idea?
In this case, the Reavers, I don't think you'll be able to get as much use out of them as you could in a field. And the Ravagers are nice, but...
The Ravagers have 20 charge, so...
Yeah, they're a two-handed axe unit, so they're pretty decent. Just see how much money you have left. Maybe you can bring a couple of units of them to fill out your roster.
Yeah. Should I bring both the detachments? I'll bring the detachment of Arbalists, or just like the normal Arbalists and maybe Thralls?
I would bring, depending on your money, I would bring 2 full units, but if you need to, like, if you want to get some more infantry,
like,
bring a
should I
detachment.
bring both the 2 full units and the detachment, or just the full units?
I would just go for the full units in this case.
Mm-hmm.
We'll make it a big infantry grind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll just stick to 2 ranged units. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I've got 4 slots left. Oh, I need 1 stars.
I know for...
So a lot of the detachments are limited to 1.
A lot of them are, yeah. Some of them aren't, but most are.
Yeah.
One thing to note is that Gervais always brings 2 units of Marksmen. So that's something that will be on the field and you can plan for by using like the terrain and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'll bring a little bit of Wolf Rider to just have some calves to play around with.
Yeah, sometimes they can be useful. The Wolf Riders for Angband aren't amazing, but yeah, Cav is never a terrible thing to have.
Yeah. Like, would you say I should bring one or two of them?
I would only bring one if you even want to bring one.
It's more just to have like an emergency plug or something.
Wretches can also be really useful despite being a low tier spear unit because they just get in the way, and you can use them to like absorb damage, especially since like I can almost guarantee you they're going to have Tyrion Lysdanen and they're going to focus down your halberds really hard. They're going to focus down mine really hard as well. So the wretches might be a better pick just because they give you that buffer.
Wretches might be a better pick instead of what?
Than cavalry in this case, just because they give you a buffer, and I'm expecting them to like be mostly in the city. Yeah, whenever you're ready to go.
Yeah, I'm just shoving some upgrades and shit on. What can I spend 35 on?
Oops, that's the wrong thing.
Oh, so weapon upgrade and armor upgrade for detachments is the same as for the full unit.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah. Interesting decision, I'd say.
That's something that might change in the future, but
Yeah, like if the detachment is half size of the full unit, I'd make the armor like the upgrades half price as well.
yeah.
Just so you're not like, so you get proper value out of it.
Yeah. Some units might not follow that system, but it is something that I've considered in the
Yeah, like
past, yeah.
general rule for most.
Yeah. The House of Fingolfin detachments are like more elite versions of the units that they're sort of a detachment of, so they'd probably stay the same, but yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea to do that for all detachments. Most of them anyway.
Yeah, like the ones that have the exact same stats anyway. Like if they just have less like half the numbers, then why should they cost the same? Since you only have half the numbers that you're upgrading. Well, this will be interesting.
Yeah, I've never actually played on this map before. I added it a million years ago, and no one ever played on it with me. But yeah, you can see we start in some pretty decent places.
Yeah. Oh, so it's kind of everyone goes into the city and bunkers up.
Yep, they can. I think we end up with a little bit more of the city, or they can like fight sort of outside of it.
Yeah, they've got like one end of it. You've got most of the city. I have a little bit of it. I have like a side of it.
This one's mostly designed for like free-for-all matches, but this kind of works out okay.
Yeah. Oh, the Urloki arm, just massive. I'll just plonk them over here. Since I can't get them to fit into the city.
But what we can try and do, like in order to win this, is we can try and like push up through the city as best as we're able.
Goddamn. I hate how when in the deployment phase it's always so damn buggy. With how you have to deploy your units on a certain place.
Yeah, it can be a pain in the ass.
You're deploying in the city as well, right?
Yeah, partially.
Yeah.
And this is where the banners become really useful, and like keeping track of everything and all of this chaos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the banners. Oh, you can place stuff up there. Didn't know the bridge things were actually usable.
Oh yeah, they definitely are. Everything that you see here can be used in some way, which is why I like this map so much.
Do the stakes work against the Uroloki and so on?
No, they won't. So the Urloki are like classified as elephants in the files, so if they roll over stakes, they'll actually remove them.
Okay, but do they like take massive damage like the elephants did?
No, they do not. No, they won't even notice it.
Okay. Do you think they'll have any cav as warriors?
Do I think that they'll have any cav? They might.
Yeah.
I brought help just in case, though.
By help, what do you mean there?
I brought some of my own cavalry.
I brought one warg, so... I'm just gonna shove everything into the city, I'd say. Oh, this is true city slogfest.
It really is.
Wretches up there. Oh, the Legionnaires don't have the good old shield wall. I hope they didn't bring artillery.
It's possible that they might have.
Should I do something about my blob then?
You could deploy some of them outside, and we could try and like flank around and get behind them. I could send at least 3 units over there in support if you wanted to do that. One of them is an axe thrower.
In the city could use a recenter. Like, the 2 players on your side of the map has most of the city in theirs.
Yeah, it could use a little bit of a recenter.
Yeah. You just move it slightly to the side. That's really all.
Yeah, I'd have to move it slightly over to their side so they have a bit more to deploy inside. So that kind of makes me think that they're mostly going to deploy outside.
Yeah.
So we might be able to like take the city early on.
Yeah.
Like hold on to it.
Like,
So
like recenter would be push it slightly towards me and push it slightly towards them.
yeah.
So that everyone has a more or less equal part.
Yeah, because I have most of it right now.
Yeah, you have most of the city by yourself.
But if you are able to, we could deploy some stuff out here. Like some strong stuff and then try and get around their position.
Like Iron Crown stuff?
Oh yeah, whatever you think would make like an effective attack force. I have some spear units to sort of like hold the line, and I've also got some axe throwers to help out.
I'll use some... How was it you pinged again?
So hit T, then hit 4 to bring you to the allied menu, then attack.
And then attack with 4 again.
Attack position shown.
Yeah.
and then you just right click.
Oh yeah, it's so damn complicated having to with in mid to ping. Yeah. I'll use some. I'll take 2 Guardians of the Iron Crown and use. And I'll.
Some Guardians.
Or should I use the Iron Shot Legionaries instead?
I would use the Guardians are a good thing to have. The Cav there is nice. The Uruloki is pretty good. And I'd maybe.
I was planning to put inside the city. I just can't get them
okay.
in because deployment boxes. But yeah. Like, would it be better to use the Iron Shard Legionaries?
You can even use the Uruloki to do indirect fire over the walls, I believe.
Oh.
Oh yeah. We might need more than 5 units as a flanking force, so the Guardians with some Cav and maybe a Legionary, that might be enough. And then I've got a flanking force
I
on
was
the other
thinking
side.
either like, how are the Guardians on like fatigue?
They're middling, so they're about normal.
Okay, so do heavier units take fatigue faster, or?
Not currently, no.
Okay.
Let's go ahead.
What is that plan?
I'm deployed, so I'm ready to go.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, let's see if they like immediately have counter deployed us, because I know Rex sometimes likes to listen to my stream while he's playing against me.
Oh yeah, they've not got inside the city really.
It's alright. We can move up and start taking important positions then.
Let's fucking... I'll use an iron shot halberdier to secure our rear gate. Just a detachment.
Perfect. Looks like they're coming over to you. So let's pick a fight there. What do they have? They've got Donath, which are a really good unit. They've got axe throwers. They've actually got a pretty serious commitment out on your side. So we might need some reinforcements through the gate there. But if you put your iron shod arbalists up on the wing, up on the walls there, we might be able to use them against them if we can like provoke a fight on our terms. So that'll be the important part there.
Yeah. Well, I'll put a legionnaire in front so that they can't just go through across the wall and be sneaky.
Let's see here. One thing you want to note here is that you don't want to let them... I'm taking a central position, so just like be aware that I'm vulnerable in my wing here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's something forward there.
I see
Good
that.
old AP extras already firing. Oh. Yep, got a good 30 of that one volley. You only have 4 volleys though.
Yeah.
Oh, god damn it. My headphones are getting caught in the fucking...
Yeah, push forward on the right there with your units.
Yeah.
And those iron shot arbalists might be able to fire down into the tier and lice down in. If you were to put them on, say, this corner right here.
Yeah. Oh, the fucking pathing. Oh god.
They have a lot of troops in reserve back here on the hill too. We'll see what happens with that.
This fucking iron shot halberdier is being a retard.
Yeah, it happens. Will they do it? I hope they will. Yeah, they will. Beautiful.
My arbalists aren't pathing well with the wall. What did they do? Might also be an idea to make it a little bit more space in the city. Because, like, there's a lot of empty space between the buildings, but you can't use any of it. So just, like, make it so you can actually use more of the city.
Yeah, that'd be something we'd have to play. We could play around a little bit with.
What crime have you now committed?
It's probably just someone dying. Nothing new.
Okay.
Oh, jeez. I really lit that wall on fire. Holy Christmas. I wonder if that actually does building damage to it. That'd be really cool. Okay, so they're moving at us on the right-hand side, so I'll need some reinforcements there.
Oh, yeah. My wretches are still alive, somehow.
There we go.
Pathing is still fucking broken for half my shit.
Managed to push back some of their units here at least. Oh, I see what you're doing. Nicely done.
Me?
Yeah.
With the axemen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he noticed. But he ain't up yet.
Coming over with some cav. Just watch the spacing on your guardians there. You don't want to have them be too blobby. Although, yeah, that's a good thing there. Denying shock infantry the charge is like the key to beating them with regular infantry. Otherwise, they just eat you.
Yeah, I noticed that he wasn't microing, so.
Otherwise, they just eat you.
God. I don't know if Mablung are having fun. Does the shield wall push still work?
Yeah.
Like it used to?
Yeah, it works with the units that have it for sure.
We'll have to throw everything in there. Oh, I like how this Lucky works. Oh, ho, 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 ho.
They're nice, aren't
Those
they?
rangers. Yeah, I'm mortaring some rangers, and they are not enjoying it.
I'm just gonna Rex.
As well, because he has lost half his unit just being up there. How was it you turned your camera more down so you look more straight down?
I don't know. I don't think I'm doing that. Ooh, the lag is really, really very noticeable.
Yeah. Look over there. And look what's coming.
There we go. Beautiful. Yeah.
I like the Dremel Angban.
My axe throwers are tossing in there too. Now the thing to note about fire is that it's not really good against heavy infantry or shielded infantry from the front. But against light troops it can be really, really devastating.
Isn't this literally like the bombard or some shit?
Sort of.
From vanilla.
Oh.
Like, they're kind of exploding when they shoot.
They have cavalry, so I'm gonna pull back a little bit.
I got the marksmen with my walls.
I see that. You did very well there.
Yeah. Ran the far way around. You didn't notice in time. He's only got axemen there. The marksmen are more important in being tied up than a unit of wargs.
We've actually like enacted some pretty good positional plays here. Oh, you stupid, stupid dudes. There we go.
I'll just hold them in place if you can get that. No, I noticed. Nice. Although they did get the counter charge, but nice.
That's all good. They're all axe units, so that's gonna hurt them.
Yeah. Yeah, you got quite a few of them. You lost one or two, maybe three horsemen. Oh, they're doing the blue shot with the marksman. Yeah, thank you for that volley.
Oh, I'm not paying attention. He's using his units here really well.
Pull your Salamandarine guard out. I've got some guardians in there. Yeah, those axemen of the girdle really did a number of your your Salamandarine. Oh, he even had some Cavalim in there. Although they are down to like 2 dudes.
Okay, managed to deal with this cavalry at least.
They had cavalry over on your side?
Yeah, they had some hidden cav. I was trying to get away from it, but I wasn't paying enough attention.
They have some outriders.
Yeah.
They're charging in now. To your left side.
Yeah, no, that's the ones I was talking about.
Okay. You really failed your job, Iron Shards. I had a unit of Iron Shard Legionnaires that I tried putting up on the wall. They didn't even run to the fucking wall. Well, I don't need the halberdiers at the back gate anymore, right?
Probably not.
Yes, your warband and marauders are on this side. Outside the walls are disengaged now because they defeated the enemy. So I think your fire arrows actually did some damage to the wall.
I think so too. It sort of looks that way, doesn't it?
Something did damage there because it has 1% damage. It might have been Uroloki though. That could have been it. Oh, that's a rather big unit that routed. You know, 56 Guardians of the ground routed.
Yeah, they have a tendency to do that.
And that's with the Spearguard being right next to them. Spearguard went a bit further down before they routed. But they immediately back to 56. I'll just have them rest a bit. They're exhausted. They've had 6 warriors of Regian up on the wall, just slowly duking it out with my Spearguard, and like, I'm slowly chipping him down, but it's taking ages, and he's chipped down quite a few of my Spearguard as well. The main reason was just to block his advance into my rear line. Seems to be going kind of well. Who was it that did all the voice acting and so on?
Hold on. I'll answer you in a sec. I'm trying not to die horribly.
Hey, alright.
They're getting reinforcements, so I'm gonna have to pull back here. But I have managed to beat them in a few different places.
Yeah, they're more or less beaten over on my side.
I think if we look at the percentages here, yeah, we're ahead by a decent margin.
Yeah, my bulldogs are untouched. I have a detachment of guardians that are untouched, and the Spearguard that is slightly above half strength. Some legionnaires that are almost full strength, some at half. Still have the arbalists out of ammo, but
actually, I think I need to push here.
Shield wall push.
Do it.
To do it.
I think I actually did damage. You're right. Like, serious damage to some of these walls. That's
Yeah,
kind of cool.
you did 1%, and although over on my side it might have been the I think over on my side it was the Urloki.
It's actually, like, crazy cool.
Yeah, the Urloki can definitely do damage, but yeah, I think you've done damage to the walls over there as well. Unless it's just 1% and the whole wall is just one whole mess. Yeah, I managed to disrupt his Tien Lystanen. Although the good old shield wall push does, as usual, take a massive toll on the model count of the unit doing it.
As you would expect.
Yeah, like, it's extremely good to disrupt from formations, but you can lose a unit. Like, I played at the back in Reforged. Sometimes I would do it with a dwarf unit, like have one dwarf unit push in and kind of make a beachhead and just have other units follow in. But I've had experiences where the dwarf unit I pushed in with just melted. Like, I made a beachhead, yes, but the unit was gone.
Yeah.
It wasn't there anymore.
It's still risky. You can do it with, like, a lot of spears, but there are some spears that do it really well. The Angband spears are just amazing at shield wall
Yeah, the
pushing.
Spearguard of the Iron Crown.
They just have, like, such good armor and everything, so that it's just...
Yeah, the Spearguard did rather well in my shield wall push into, like, it was only through the Marksmen, but I pushed like halfway through the Tien Lystanen before I started actually attacking the Tien Lystanen. I only lost like 15 models doing that, or since then.
So it's an interesting game, though. Like, it's not a total blowout. It's like 15 or so percent
Pull this
difference.
back. They could pull this back.
I don't think they can.
Now that I look at your side, no. Like, if they still had a few forces, then they could have pulled that back. But
Yeah.
my bulldogs are completely untouched.
Feanor did really well with his, like, ambush against some of my lighter troops, but I noticed it in time, and I was able to, like, kind of deal with it.
Yeah, I think it was it was Gavais that was on my side, and I was just able to grind him down. And with your assistance from your cab and so on, we were able to just, like, if I didn't have your cab, I probably would have might have blocked to Gavais.
Angband's good at the whole grindiness.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking Angband and Finarfin are the main grind factions.
Yeah, Angband's really good at grinding. The big thing for Angband, though, is that a lot of their units lack really good morale response traits. So shocks, like if they lose their general or they take morale shocks from taking casualties really quickly, those units can run astoundingly fast. That doesn't apply to the Iron Crown units. They're a little bit sterner, made of a little bit sterner stuff, but for the most part, the Iron Shot units will run at, like, the drop of a hat.
Yeah. I'm pulling some of my very tired legionnaires out so they could rest and so on. And then I'm going to switch in a untouched attachment of Man Crown. Ball players. Yeah, Gavais did actually did. He did some decent work on all my units.
Yeah, one of the things that we did really well is, like, that initial fight on the right. Like, we really fucking bled them hard there. Like, I
Yeah.
pulled a spear unit back, and then his axeman followed it because he didn't see it, and then I was able to, like, smack him with a whole bunch of, like, throwing axes and stuff, which is
Yeah.
not what you want to have happen in Storiath.
Yeah. And I managed to get quite a few. Like I pushed my obelisks up on some walls. Although I didn't get it on that corner wall to shoot down into the main blob. I could shoot. I then positioned them as one of my units. I positioned there, which is on a slight hill, so they could shoot down into the main blob. Because they were technically on the same height as that wall you were saying I should put my units on.
Right.
So yeah, like that's wouldn't surprise me if my obelisk got quite a few kills. And my Uroloki really, they didn't get that many kills necessarily, but they did a lot of morale damage, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Because shooting having fiery balls fall down into the middle of your formation, it's gonna do something.
It can also be really disruptive. Like, they don't technically have a morale penalty associated with getting hit by them, but
It's more the fact that suddenly, like, a whole bunch of dudes lose a lot of health.
yeah.
Or die.
And it's disruptive, and they don't like being shot with missiles, especially if they're getting shot from behind, which is pretty easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah, this Spearguard I used to do the shield wall push, they were still slightly overextended, and that meant they routed. Because I didn't have enough killing power to, like, clean off the flanks on the push.
Yeah.
So they routed out 30 unit, like 33 units or models. Yeah.
Got my general coming in there.
Yeah. My Wargs probably didn't get that many kills. Like, they probably didn't even kill half that Marksman unit. But considering the fact that I tied that Marksman unit down for so long as they did, and that Axeman unit as well.
Yeah. Just be
say-
careful, because the units that they have remaining are actually really, really strong.
Yeah, I know. I'm having some units engaged with them, like some halfway fodder units, while my one of my guardians is resting, and a full unit of legionnaires is resting. So
I'm gonna throw my bodyguard in there too to help out.
I still have my full bulldogs unit that isn't even touched because I kind of just forgot about him. To be honest.
It's all good. We'll be able to push through here.
Oh,
Oh,
Feanor. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're sending your chieftain's honor guard there.
yeah.
Gonna send my bulldogs over on over there because it's mostly just arbalists and 27 legionnaires holding that side. Oh, someone's pinging me. I'll pull the arbalists back because I'm not really helping that option.
Yeah, having my fresh honor guard is going to be really helpful, because these units have all been fighting for a really long time.
Yeah, my bulldogs are also completely fresh.
Yeah, you'll want to commit them soon.
I've already committed them.
Oh, perfect.
They're just working their way through the obelisks to get to the enemy.
And I have...
Behelit join after his dinner.
Did Behelit said he wanted to join?
Yeah, he just told me, or PM'd me that he'll be joining after his dinner.
Sweet.
So,
I have a little bit more time. There's a couple things I need to get done today, but yeah, I have a couple more hours to spare, so why not?
Yeah, since it's morning for you.
Sort of. It's like afternoon for me.
Well, for me, it's like 9:30 in the evening. There goes Feanor. Oh. Again, General is stuck on the wall.
Oh well. It's kind of where he wants to be anyway.
Right there, just looking down on your units, killing his.
Oh, I know. I see him.
He's just stuck there. He is very bloody and looks kind of sad.
We're starting to get some breaking now. The more and more like exhausted they get, the harder it is for them to like stay and fight.
I lost a few bulldogs already. Oh, the donut in Mablon already routed or broke. They're fighting to the death.
Yeah, this is where we squeeze them between the two of us. They had a nice little last stand there, but it was not to last. Now that panic's gonna spread and everyone's gonna run.
Mm-hmm. Well, everybody charge. Okay.
There you go, your first Silmarillion victory.
Yep. Sure, I'll come and get you.
I'll send my Chieftain's Honor Guard up there.
Yeah, I'm sending my bulldogs up there. Where is it at? Yes, that's still down there fighting. Oh, it's not fighting any longer. I think my dudes are first. Yeah, my dudes are first. And immediately, just one stab to the back and he's dead.
Get out of here.
Just, oof.
Oh damn it! You beat me there. I'm so sad. My guy's like, hey, what's happening? Did we miss it?
Yeah, you're standing on him.
Well, this is an interesting game.
Yeah, interesting game.
It might actually be kind of fun to show.
Okay. Yeah, my bulldogs, they lost 5 dudes and only killed 17.
Yeah, I lost like 4 of my Chieftain's Honor Guard, but that's alright.
Oh, wow. Yeah, my Uraloki, they got 264 kills.
Decent. That's really good. For
Yeah.
a 5 dragon unit?
Yeah. 264. Although they are all dead. Still some... I think that's actually my hardest... Yeah, that's my hardest hitting unit.
Yeah.
My Arbalists got... One of them got 175, the other one got 139.
I think the thing that was tough for them there... I should actually read my chat. I haven't done that in ages.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that was toughest for them there was that Doriath is... That definitely favored our style of warfare with all the pole arms and the Uraloki that can, like, you know, bomb into groups of infantry way more than it favored Doriath. Like, Doriath is, like, they were good and they put up a good fight, but I don't know, I would have gone with Finarfin or something on their end.
Yeah.
At least one Finarfin player. Hello, Pizza God. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining us, man. Yes, we are going to play another one, Ian. Sorry, what was that, Del?
My Halberds didn't get that many kills. Like, the most they got was 70.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
my Wolf Riders only got 36 kills, but they were mainly meant for just holding the marksman down.
Mm-hmm. Why don't we do...
Oh. Spearguard with 155.
Dor Caranthier is pretty fun. We could play with that. It's got there's a lot of stuff going on in Dor Caranthier. It's like partially cityscape, partially mostly open field. There's like some hills and stuff. It's pretty interesting.
How many people is it for?
You can play it with however many you want. It's not really a 1v1 map though, so I guess 2v2 at least.
Okay. I'll go on your team again. And I think I actually rather like Vanguard.
Especially mid-tier heavy, they can be very good. It's just you got to find that balance between your elephants and your mid-tiers and just making sure you have everything you need.
The Loki and so on, and Valararka. But yeah. I rather like the Ironbound with the roster.
Yeah, they're one of our original two factions. Like Sons of Feanor and Angband are one of the original two, and they're for a very long time they were like kind of broken, like really really strong. But now they're more reasonable, but still really really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally, Ian. Join us.
Who's coming?
Just another one of the new people.
Well, everyone's welcome.
Yeah, of course, everyone is welcome. I would like to get more new people in because I sort of the purpose of me getting in here today for those of you listening with Dell is that I think there's a lot of new people who picked up the mod. Like looking at our downloads, we've got well over 1,000 for the last patch. I think there's a lot of people that are like new to the mod and have picked it up, but it's maybe a bit intimidating to kind of get into it. So this is sort of aimed at that group of people to help you get like situated and understand the meta and to go through it with someone who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, hello.
Welcome, Wally. All right, let's give them 28k. This could be a fun one for like a 3v3 or something.
Oh, Bearlet has joined us in the voice channel.
Oh, I don't hear him.
Oh, yeah, right. I forgot. Yeah, because we're... can you move us into the War Master's quarters?
Oh, is he not allowed to speak in Denmark? Okay.
Yes.
That's really funny. Okay, I'll move us. Give me a sec. There we go. Can you talk now? Does it work? He just doesn't want to talk to us. It's understandable.
Well, who wants to talk to us anyway?
I mean,
a Canadian and a Danish guy.
You sat in chat alone for 5 hours yesterday, so certainly not you.
Actually, more than 5 hours.
Aww,
because
sad boy.
I sat in chat for like 4 hours, then went shopping with my mother, and then I sat in chat alone for 5 hours, and then Timo joined me, and then we played games for like 4 hours, and then we went to sleep.
What's up, boys?
Oh, hey, buddy. Oh, I need to turn you down. You just about blew my fucking ears out.
Really? Yeah, that's with my phone.
There we go. That's way better.
It's a fucking disaster to set that thing up.
You gonna come? Doing? I'm pretty good. You gonna come join us for a game?
Sure thing, man. I'm installing Silmarillion at the moment. Excuse my pronunciation.
That's inexcusable. Kicking you right now.
You're Dutch.
Bye-bye.
You're fake.
Oh. Better than being in Danish, I guess. Ooh, got him.
Hashtag got him.
Yeah. Well, at least we're not Canadian.
You know what? I'm also glad you're not Canadian, so that works out. But yeah, so if you have like questions about stuff, Crimson, just like let me know. We basically be going through all the basics.
Good thing, man. I'm excited to see what you're bringing up to the table.
There's a ton of like, it's understandable if you played Reforged, but it's like, I don't know. It would be like trying to maybe speak Dutch with someone from South Africa. It's like just different enough that it's a little bit weird to get into.
Yeah, probably a lot of units I don't know the lore or meaning behind, since I didn't read the books.
I didn't
Biggest
read
thing-
the books either.
Biggest thing you want to know is that weapon type is really important. So like your one-handed axe units are kind of like a halfway mark between regular troops and shock troops. They charge at a greater distance, they hit harder when they do, but they tend to lack in like defensive stats. So
Yeah, it was a little bit before, or like the idea with Reforged too, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, when you were in charge of balancing, I don't know what the goals are now in Reforged.
I think
for
they're
balancing.
I think they're doing another overhaul. Is my understanding is that they might be moving in that direction.
Yeah, I heard something like that from Sin, but when Sin is saying it, I don't really trust anything about balance.
We'll see what he wants to do, because I offered him and WK, I think, are the two people involved. I offered them my stat book, and I did some like overhauls for all the Dunedain factions, just to kind of give them an idea of what I'd be going for, and if they want to use that, they can go for it too.
Alright. Yeah, well, I'm back into modding, but
I noticed.
well, I'm not going to say for like this creation is for this mod or something. I'm just creating shit now for most of the third age mods, but
Yeah.
mainly Reforged, of course, because my base is set there.
Yeah, that's fair
I
enough.
don't really have beef with all the guys. So. I mean, a little bit, but what you expect.
Who doesn't have beef with Kuro, to be honest?
Oh,
Feanor, Sin,
just
or-
just so you know, we're on stream right now, guys.
Well,
Oh,
still.
I should have mentioned
You
that.
want
So
Kuro, I
No.
said it.
In the last
no
5
no
minutes.
shit talk or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many viewers you got? Let me see.
It's only 9 people.
Oh, okay. Hey, 9 people. Love y'all.
We're
Look,
famous.
it's looking like it is bugged there, Ian. It's probably because I'm on a different download zone, so you might not be able to communicate directly with me through chat. But I think Delramura and I are on the same side.
Communicate with Gavais. So
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a 2v2 while we wait for Beheliton to get settled up.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm still at the starting stages of the installation.
yeah, I think Finrod was only joining us for that one game, maybe.
Okay, well, we'll see if he does or not. But I'm gonna be.
I don't know. He's not saying much in.
He might be busy.
He only sent. What is that even called? I don't even know what the fuck that remote is called. Oh, it's the Kuro face. That's all he sent in the order halls.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see what he wants to do. We have lots of room if he wants to end up joining us. So
I've got a few hours I can spend. Since it's only 9:30.
let's see. Here.
So, how is this map? Is this also a grand one, or?
This one is pretty open. There's a lot going on this map. So there is like a minor settlement that can be used. I probably won't if we have it, just because that's kind of cheating. So I think we should just go out and fight them. Basically,
Okay,
this
so-
map, I modeled it after like the a map of the Battle of Bannockburn. So it's
I don't know
that.
what the fuck that is.
Oh, it was an important battle in the Scottish War for Independence. One of the Scottish Wars for Independence.
Well, Scottish people aren't relevant.
Don't let King hear you say that.
I've told him that to his face.
Oh, well, okay then.
But then again, he doesn't talk much to me anymore. So,
Well, that's what happens when you get taken over by a robot.
yeah. Would it be better to go with the Balaraka this time, or Loki?
In this case, why not try out the Balrogs? So they're elephants for the purposes of like game mechanics. So just be aware that like pikes, halberds, two-handed units, spears to a much lesser extent because they don't hit as hard, they can do pretty serious damage to them. So just avoid those things and you'll be fine. Also, lots of javelins focus firing them would suck.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like the Urloki are nice, but they don't have that much ammo. You haven't even listed how much ammo they have.
Oh, it's because it's not really... It seems to work differently. So I gave them 2 shots, but they'll probably fire more like 4 or 5 before they run out. So I'm not sure how to classify it.
Yeah, because there's technically like 3 dudes per unit.
Yeah.
Or per dragon. Oh.
I don't know what that was. Oh, I know exactly what that was.
Cafe.
Yeah, I'm sure it's coffee.
Yeah. Guess my sensitivity is a little tad high.
Yeah, I used to just take my sensitivity and just crank it the fuck up.
Yeah, I like people hearing me scratch my balls. I don't mind.
Alright,
then.
white.
Okay.
Who are we waiting for, by the way?
We weren't waiting for anyone. I was just trying to finish my comp.
I'm also trying to finish my comp.
So we'll lock it at 2v2, and then Artorias can join when Crimson's available as well. Then we'll have 3v3.
Unless Behemoth is about to be done.
I always feel so guilty
I'm
hitting that
halfway
kick
to
button.
installation. Although I think I have to pick up my girlfriend in half an hour or so.
Oh, fair enough.
I think I'll skip one.
No worries.
Okay. Would the Ravagers be a good idea in this one?
See who we're fighting against. So from Fingolfin, expect Pikes. Expect Pikes on the front line. And to a lesser extent, you're going to see the Nobles of Balar from the Philothrim, who also are a Spearwall unit, but they're not quite the same range. They're like halberd range. So in this case, yeah, why not? Go for some of the 2-handed axemen and like mix them in with like some other like scary flanking units, like cavalry maybe.
Some Wolf Riders. Would halberds be useful on this one?
Yes. So what I would do for this is like a standard kind of frontline for Angband is 3 halberds, 3 legionnaires, all with their full upgrades, and then you have your bulldogs as your general, your Valoralkar, and some other like strong units to push on the flanks, and then like whatever else you can get in there. Some arbalists, you can never really go amiss with those.
Mm-hmm. Any of the thralls or
any of the which? Oh, the thralls. I don't. The thralls actually aren't like a terrible idea against the Philothrim, but you will be playing against Fingolfin, so they might not be as relevant in this case.
so like 2 guardians, 2 spearguard, 3 legionnaires, 3 halberds, 2 ravagers, 2 arbalists, and 2 wolf riders.
Yeah, try it.
Okay, and then the Valoraka.
You won't be able to beat them head on though. Like, bear that in mind. You're gonna have to be kind of tricky. And they have cav, like they're lancers. Lancers in this mod are actually decent against warg units in particular. So if you're gonna bring wargs, bring some wretches to back them up, and then you can just zone out his cav forever.
You're going Feanor?
Yeah.
Is he?
Probably not a super good idea against the Falas, but I'm gonna try it anyway.
Who cares if it's a good idea or not?
Exactly. I've got some good units, but he's also got some really nice stuff that can be a pain. He's got a lot of spears, things like that. But my infantry force is like small but hardy.
I'll go for 1 walk and 2 wretches. And then the good old Valorca.
Let's see if I missed anything here in chat.
Everyone was apparently ready.
Oh. Oh, good. We started.
Yeah, you were just waiting for me.
Alrighty.
So you want to do a united front, kind of?
Let's see kind of where we're at, because I don't really want to fight these guys uphill. But if he takes a strong position on the hill, then I will just use... Maybe that's what I'll do. Is I'll, like, pull my infantry and stuff back to the tree line, where I can hide a few of them. And then I'll use my cav to help you defeat Fingolfin. Because if we use our cav in tandem, then we'll be unstoppable.
I only have 1 cab unit.
Oh. Who are you playing as again? Angban.
Angban.
Is it a new map?
Hmm?
Is it a new map?
Yeah, it's, this one's a new one. This one I made specifically for Silmarillion.
Looks nice.
Yeah, it's not too bad. A little bit too many trees in places, but...
Not too shabby.
Actually, one of the things that we have that's new is we use the vegetation from Europa Barbarorum, which is way fucking better than the vanilla stuff, and it also crashes less. So you guys might...
Yeah, it does look a little bit dark greenish.
It looks really good. It, like, crashes less, and it has no performance hit whatsoever, so...
It's still 2D for me. That's because low graphics.
Yeah, it looks like potato.
Europa Barbarian did that good, like, make a lot of optimization to the models while making them look nicer.
Yeah, it's just a crazy cool mod and like a crazy cool like resource and standard.
Yeah. The tower and so on over here, is that from... That's from Battle for Middle-earth, right? The 1 and 2.
Which one is, sorry?
This stuff over here. That's from Battle for Middle-earth, right?
Oh yeah, all that stuff is from BFME. We've added like a shit ton of orc and elf assets, I think, since Behelit's been gone. So like making maps is way more enjoyable when you're doing it through the battle editor.
Yeah. So what is our general idea?
I am going to position myself such that... Oh, what the flip? Look at this.
Wait. How many Balrogs do I get? Oh, I only get 3 Balrogs. Okay.
Hold on here.
Oh yeah, I see that's the assets I provided from Battle for Middle-earth.
Yeah, we've been like slowly...
It was hell to figure that out, how to import that in the game.
Yeah, it was honestly, it was much appreciated because like it's really... It just makes maps fucking way more fun to make and way more interesting and immersive to play on. Why the...
To be honest though, that texture should be updated to look like a little bit more bland or like in the color palette of Medieval 2, since now it's a little bit cartoony-ish. I mean,
yeah, I can...
A little too bright,
I can see that, especially on some of the elven stuff, but...
should I deploy stakes at all?
Please don't. Actually, because you're in the woods there, and I'll definitely run over those.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm considering. Like, I would probably just run over my own stakes as the first person anyway.
My formation is bugged for some reason.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, I set my formation to set the control group, but it doesn't let me move it as a unit. Oh, it's because of this. Oh, I see what I've done wrong.
You've done everything wrong.
There we go. Cool. So, my idea is that I'm kind of not expecting the Philothrum to deploy, like down, like in the valley here. I would expect them to at least keep some of their troops up on that hill because that's like a really strong position. So with that in mind, let's use my cav to beat up on Fingolfin.
They just dab on his cap.
Exactly. I'm gonna send my lancers around your right wing and then come in from behind him, while you fight him from the front, and I'll have some other cav over there on the side to help out. You ready?
Almost. Should I use the Valderaka to try and kill this cav, or?
I would keep them away from cavalry for now.
Okay.
Although the House of Fingolfin cavalry, like the lancers, will hit your guys hard off the charge, but they have penalties against elephants. But one of the big things that elephants do well is they have an area of effect, and because cavalry is much more spaced out than infantry, then you're not going to be able to hit multiple cavalry units at once usually.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah, so it's an inefficient use versus the amount of damage you'll probably take in return. Okay. Ready when you are, my guy.
Yeah. Yep, I'm ready. I'm not seeing putting
Okay,
my...
so he's gone like super wide.
Yeah, very wide.
One of the I forgot the House of Fingolfin has those units now. I'm gonna have to be careful with my knights. They have a legendary company called the Arqueni Findicano, and they're like monster hunters basically. They have really high missile damage that's armor piercing.
Are they the guys running around over on the side?
Yeah, but the Philothrim, let's rush down Fingolfin now because the Philothrim are super like out of where they need to be. So let's just push forward and attack.
Oh, yeah. I think that was what he talked about, saying he made a boo-boo. I think he clicked ready too fast.
Yeah. So this is gonna rely mostly on your infantry because I need to keep my troops in a position where I can check the Philothrim advance.
Should I just charge them?
Yeah. Get down there and get busy. Don't throw your wolf riders away though. Keep them back for now.
Oh, lagging a little bit. You know, the Laxus.
But yeah, advance like directly at his center. And he's gonna want to... He's probably gonna have to like run over there, so I'll just position myself in his way basically.
Fingolfin is kind of just pulling back a bit.
Yeah, he wants to draw you out of the hills, so just like keep going, keep moving forward, and we'll advance together.
Should I run or just walk?
Try and preserve what you can in terms of your fatigue.
Yeah. Oh, you're shooting the lances?
Yeah. Gonna bully them a little bit. Because, like, my units are all shielded and armored.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not, like, actually really worried about his arrows all that much.
What about the spearmen? Yeah, the Felofren have some scouts that are already harassing you already.
That's okay.
Some scouts of Eckling Rest. He's starting to arrive a little.
That's okay. I'm just gonna go over there and I can deal with them.
Wait, no, I assume over there.
But yeah, keep pushing Fingolfin. He's had some like early game losses here. I've used up some of his ammo. I've killed off some of his horsemen.
Oh, he's starting to shoot. This marksman of Per Aethel is shooting at my legionnaires. Shooting into the shield. That is favorable for me, correct?
Yeah. I think so.
Sons of Hurin, those are strong, right?
Be very afraid of them.
So I should shoot them with my arbalists.
Yes, absolutely. Shoot them with your arbalists.
Yeah, I'm getting a nice inflating shot into them. Oh, that's charge going to be nice. Trying to break through their spear and pike wall. Irimo and Arentar are strong, right?
Hmm?
Irimo and Arentar are strong, correct?
They're pretty good.
I can hear all the names are done by Belagos.
No, actually those ones are me.
Really?
Only the elven, like, bodyguard units tend to have those crazy good names. Like, the crazy names, but...
Yeah.
Sons of Hurin already down to 7 dudes.
Yeah, I prefer to keep it like simple and concise.
99.9% of them are. I definitely see the need to have them be simple and precise.
Yeah. quite convenient.
What the fuck are they doing that? Yeah, his front line is more like broken in a lot of places. Oh, you're doing it on your side?
Pretty decently.
Yeah. He forgot about his lances, so I just recharged them with some, or charged them rather, with some wargs. A massive number on my Ravagers, but his lances are gone.
I'm doing okay. I think I got this.
Only half the enemy force remains.
Mm-hmm. We've killed 56, they've killed 42. Getting some nice shots into the rear of the Iremo Oriental with my
Very
arborists.
much in our favor. Victory will be ours.
Oh, that front line. Yeah, now I just need to mop up their front line. Ready. The Herumata of Barrett Eiffel, two-handers. How good are they?
They're pretty good. Their numbers are quite low, but like they're a strong unit for sure.
The enemy general flees.
But the Iremo Aranta is better, or stronger.
The Iremo Arantar are a really good infantry unit, and they have like good morale buffing capabilities and such.
Oh, he just admitted defeat.
Victory
So.
will be ours.
Yeah, he was beaten anyway though.
Yeah, he had no front line really, but he had a few of his like elites left over. He could have done probably like 100 or 200 kills more.
Potentially, but
I don't think it's. I don't think he thinks that's worth it compared to the amount of time he would have had to spend.
ooh, really nice moves here with those guys right behind my lines, giving me the business.
Where is it that he got Marksmen behind your lines?
Over on my left wing. He put some marksmen in like a nice little enfilade position.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
He was actually starting to win out on that fight. Honestly, we kind of caught each other out because I didn't realize that they were running into him, and then we were like both advancing at the same time. And I wasn't even able to like use any of my javelins or anything, but it ended up kind of working out okay.
Oh, lost one Balrog.
You kept them away from their counters really well in that case. Because, like,
I
against...
charged them into Pikes and Spears.
Into which spears?
Pikes and Spears.
Oh.
The main front line. But I did it rather late. Like, I was just using it to... I did it right there. That's where the Balrog.
Right. Well, that's just fine then, using them late like that.
Yeah, like, their line was more or less dead anyway. It was me really just... Like, his left flank had come... Or rather, his right flank, my left side, I had already completely, like, broken him. But his right side was still holding on. So I just used them to try and break him faster.
Right. Oh,
And I succeeded in that well.
it seems like that
It
worked
fucked
out.
his line so hard that he broke.
I gotta hand it to Wally, though. He did really well at chewing up my front line. Like, I don't have a whole lot of infantry left. They just held while my cavalry helped you beat Rex.
Yeah. Yeah. Gavais did some questionable moves with his infantry. Like, he chose his Arancino Avanzar, or Avanzar, or whatever, the rather good units. He chose those to charge into the back of my Legionnaire. Which, yes, it was a good move in that consideration, but by doing that, he opened the back of that unit to my Arbalists,
Right.
which then just cut them down completely. Like, a lot of his elite units, he charged into the flank of my units, but he did it in a way that they just left his rear or his flank completely open to my Arbalists.
Yeah, I saw
So
that with the Sons of Hurin as well. Like, they were in a good position to flank, but it wasn't the time to do it.
Yeah, it was not the time to do it. Like, yes, he did a number on that Legionnaire, but the Legionnaire is still here. Like, the Legionnaire still had lost like 50 models, and the Halberdiers that was with it lost 60. But they're still there.
Yeah. That was a tough one for him, because we ganged up on him quite a lot, and, like, his ally was sort of out of the fight. Which is... Like, that was a positioning error, basically, that helped us carry this battle.
Yeah. Like, I think what he really needed to do was just pull back. Just immediately just pull back and have his cav, like, try and run security, because...
Or circle back around and, like, try and meet up with his allies
yeah,
over
like,
there in the
either
hills.
just straight up pull strike back towards the corner, or just, like, pull towards his ally. He just needed to get further away so his ally had time to get there.
Damn, these Orion Ephidoon just won't fucking die.
So what?
The Philothrim BG that we're fighting right now?
Oh, Orion Ephidoon. No. Why the fuck?
Zoom in on them. They look pretty cool.
JMonster, do you actually always single right click when you charge your cav?
I double right click.
Ah, okay, I see.
Sometimes it's
There's-
laggy, and I hit the R
Yeah,
button.
there is some mechanic when you line your cav up right and you have the right distance. When you single right click, they kind of get a better acceleration
The enemy general
Oh.
when charging units, and they can be more devastating.
So, like, single right click and then hit R to make them run, or?
No, they run from the cells. They like accelerate in like a walking speed, and then there's a clip about it on YouTube somewhere. I'll see if I can salvage it.
Yeah, if you could find that for me, that'll be a really useful tip for, I think, everyone going into the Invitational.
Well, it's not always easy to pull off and something to get used to, but I can see it working quite consistently if you do that. I'm also not always doing that, but just something I picked up.
He still has some scouts affecting the rest of it.
I see that. He's trying to get away with them.
He's been running them around.
I want to give them different helmets. I think they need new helmets.
Yeah, the scouts.
Yeah. I just used the Gondor helmets for them because they had
Yeah,
nice
they
little
look
small
kind of like
wings.
cone heads.
A little bit. Oh, they might break here. I think you might get close enough.
I found the video.
Try and
Some
cut
nice
off their retreat.
Some nice infographics in that video with some drawing on the screen.
He's getting a few more kills out of the arbalists.
A decent amount of kills. God damn, that was like 30 kills.
Yeah, like, that was like, yeah, these got more than 40 kills already on those.
That's the skirmisher versus infantry template at work there. Also, they're orcs.
Yeah.
But infantry.
Yeah, you got like 45 kills on those arbalists.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But infantry generally have better morale, like shock response traits, and like higher combat stats overall. And skirmishers are just, they're there to pew pew, so.
Yeah, especially with arbalists.
That was an interesting game.
Yeah.
It might be fun for like review or something later.
Yeah, you did a lot of the work. Like,
oh Jesus!
the issue with
look at that.
like I lost a third of my army. I didn't lose any full units. I think.
Yeah, Jervis was giving you the business there for a while, but that's the Pikes at work, right? They're hard to beat from the front, but we did what we needed to do.
Yeah, like even so, I managed to push through with like I pulled in. I set in like he had 3 units long, and I had 3. Like I just sent in 1 legionnaire and 1 halberdier at each of them, and then in like the junctions between my units, I sent in shield wall spearguard.
I saw that actually.
With the guardians behind to follow up.
That was actually really smart. I saw that, and that was a good move. Yeah.
Yeah, like that. If I have it up, if his line is that thin, even if it's like kind of dense line,
yeah,
a shield wall can still push through. And that is what broke his line so quick, because I got my spearguard behind his line, and then he didn't have any reserve forces to really counter my spearguard.
Yeah, that's because I drew off a lot of his reserves, and his Arqueni in particular. Like, if they snipe out your Balrogs, and they can do that really well, they'll kill them quickly. But he used all of his ammunition and attention on my knights, which kind of sucked because they only got 63 kills. But it also, took that pressure off of you.
Yeah, you took a lot of pressure off of me, which allowed me to more or less just dose him down.
Yeah. Let me see about how long
and
we've been.
It shows quite well how, like, just the fact that, well, you have 2 teammates. One of them with a strong infantry-focused army, one with mainly cav.
Yeah, we played that how we needed to, like just hammer and anvil all day long.
Yeah.
Is Wally Wolf you, Ian Smith? I have to say, Ian, you did really, really well with getting those marksmen behind the lines. And that was just a tough situation, like getting caught out like that. I was able to kind of surround you in a few different places. But I think the biggest part was like you want to stick with your ally when you can, because that was like the kind of game-winning thing there, right? Is we were able to jump on Rex right away, and you did the right thing by running over there as quickly as you could. But that was the decisive moment, is that I could take a lot of pressure off my ally. Like if he had to go toe-to-toe with Fingolfin, he probably would have lost without my help.
Yeah, the cavalry would have fucked me. Plain and simple.
Or
but
it would have been...
The fact that he had to deal with both your macro and my macro made him not able to keep up.
Yeah,
and I caught a few of his units off guard.
He just didn't have enough moving pieces. But yeah, I thought you did really well getting... I saw you launching some really nice flank attacks with the cavalry, like surrounding my flanking units, which was a great idea. I would have maybe brought some more javelins, especially against the House of Feanor, because I have all that armor, right? But yeah, getting those marksmen behind me, that was a thing of beauty. That was actually like swinging that fight entirely in your favor until I was able to get my cavalry over there and sort of disrupt things. But yeah, you did really well. Press enter and made a move. It happens, man. I've done that too.
Yeah.
I think that's it for me for today, because we're getting on to 1 o'clock my time. Although it doesn't really look too much different, because there's fires in the States, and like my whole city is just covered in smoke right now. It's like this weird kind of haze. But it is technically afternoon, so I should do grown-up things for a little bit. But do you feel like Do you feel like this was helpful, Delramore? Because like I want to do this more.
Yeah,
with-
it was very helpful for me. It's probably mostly helpful for people who are able to straight up join the voice channel and just talk to you and ask questions.
Yeah, I think this would be helpful. I know Ralmec was probably around, and he maybe wants to jump in, but that'll maybe have to wait until tomorrow. I'll do another stream tomorrow, and we'll take someone else through the sort of the motions of learning how to play Silmarillion.
Yeah, because I'm starting to get the hang of most of it. Or somewhat. Like, I now know somewhat how to actually play the game again. So,
Still suck though.
yeah, I still suck. But
I
now
thought you did
know
great, man. Especially
I
in
know
that game
how
when we did in the
to
city.
make
That was the
somewhat
shit.
decent army and more or less what units to combine and what units to target with what. Like, really, that's what you need, and then you just need micro practice.
Yeah, it's just a matter of practice. I'm honestly pretty rusty too. Like I don't normally play Feanor, which is why I wanted to play them so many times today. But yeah, I'm gonna sign off for the day. I'm gonna put the link to our ModDB in the chat. It's available for you guys right there. We have an all-in-one installer that's really easy to get going with. You just point it at your Steam directory, and then you run through the batch file after applying the large address-aware patch, because that's going to help you be a lot more stable in your multiplayer games and your campaign games later on when we release that. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this so far.
Passwords.
And there's no passwords this time. Yeah, no, we're not making it too like user unfriendly for you. Mostly because I don't want to answer the same damn question ad infinitum.
Exactly.
But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you probably tomorrow around the same time, probably about a